All right, Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect and Shalom, to the men of the Lord that are prophesying, preaching, and teaching on the highways and byways in sincerity and in truth. Shalom and Barakathum. And this is going to be a little bit of a longer form lesson on the origins of the Amalekites spoken about in the Bible. All right, who they are. Okay, what are their origins according to the scriptures, and what information has basically been brought out on them over the years. All right, and you have a lot of rhetoric going on, in the land today about who's who, but this guy's been made completely bare. All right, he is he's basically naked, exposed on all sides. You see, so Lord willing, this is edifying, and we'll go and give you some understanding on who these people are and how do we trace them back from their biblical identity through today, which, spoiler alert, the Amalekites are the people that are in the Holy Land professing themselves to be Israelites. All right. And, if you know, brothers that watch the channel, you know that the true Israelites are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. As well as the scattered Israelites, the speckled birds, all right, that are in every nation that look like the other heathen. All right, we're scattered everywhere, but predominantly, all right, you're going to see that the curses, the prophecies all fit the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Americans, the Negroes that came out of West Africa or Negro land, and what they call the indigenous people that were over here in the Western Hemisphere in North and South America. All right. North, Central, and South America. All right. So that's who we are, and that's who they are. All right. Now let's try to read and get a little bit of understanding of the history. All right. Because this goes all the way back. Okay. This is an ancient war, man. That's why the scriptures say that I will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. All right. As a matter of fact, I'll get it real quick. Exodus 17 and 16, for he said, because the Lord Yahweh hath sworn that the Lord Yahweh will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Now, ironically enough, these precepts are being brought out on the world stage to justify them doing what they're going to do over there in the land, all right, of the Philistines. All right. And Salakia, 1 second. Salakia. All right. So that's what's being brought out now. But they're basically exposed. They're shook. They're nervous and don't know what to do. But due to spirit and power, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, it's going to be more than just the Israelites, the true Israelites, coming against them and proving it. The whole world is getting ready to do it. And I'll show you one of the former prime ministers of the Palestinian people saying that very thing, All right. But this is the context here, man. So this thing goes a long way, and you'll see throughout all of history, he's had a beef and a chip on his shoulder, and he couldn't let it go, man. He couldn't let it go. From generation to generation, he was just hurt. You see? Salakia. You see? Couldn't let it go, man. You see? And this is an ancient war, a perpetual hatred that we basically had for one another, man. All right. Deuteronomy 25:17. Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way when ye were come up forth out of Egypt, how he met thee by the way and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou was faint and weary, and he feared not the Most High. And that angered the Lord, man. that pissed the Lord off. All right. I can still feel the anger that the Lord has from that matter, because they never were fully recompensed. All right, for that. Their punishment for that was to be the book of Obadiah. Read the book of Obadiah. All right, but that was supposed to happen by the hands of Saul, but we'll get that of Saul's mistake that he had to be rebuked for, ends up causing the very resurgence of Amalek on us, man. And I'll explain what I'm talking about in the second verse 19. Therefore it shall be, when the Lord Yahweh thy power hath given thee rest from all thine enemies round about in the land which the Lord Yahweh thy power giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it. All right. So when did they get rest? Do they have rest right now over there in the land? No, they do not, man. It's the opposite. All right. They have disorder and civil unrest and uproars, man. All right. That guy Netanyahu needs to be careful among his own people, because they hate that guy, man. All right. It says, in the land which the Lord Yahweh thy power giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Thou shalt not forget it. All right. So that's how grievous of a thing that Amalek did to us, man. All right. Smiting old women, kids, are sick. Okay. And didn't want to face the real men that were towards the front, man. You see, they lied in wait for us and then snuck us, man. You see? That's infuriating, man. You see? All right, but anyway, let's go back to the beginning, okay, of where this whole thing came back down to. So I'm gonna go to Slovakia. All right. Nope. That's not what I wanted. I'm gonna go to Genesis 36. I thought I had it saved here, but it's all good. All right. Just to give you the genealogy of the Edomites. All right. Who is he biblically? Verse 30, Genesis 36 and 9. All right. And Genesis 36, I'll start at 9. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. All right. These are the names of Esau's son, Eliphaz. All right. The son of Adah, the wife of Esau. All right. Reuel, the son of Bashemath, the wife of Esau. And it says, and the sons of Eliphaz were Teman. All right. You see that? And you hear that. You're going to hear that name a lot throughout the scriptures. Not a lot, but you hear it repeated. All right. In prophecy. Teman was a son of Esau's firstborn, Eliphaz. Okay. It says Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. All right. Now, that's Esau's first son, his actual literal sons that were born of him. All right. And he has descendants of those sons. And it says, and Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz's son. Eliphaz, Esau's son. All right. And she bare Eliphaz Amalek. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. All right. So he had a son named Eliphaz, and Eliphaz had a son named Amalek. So Amalek is the grandson of Esau, the literal Esau that was being a hoe ass nigga with his birthright. All right, him. He's the literal grandson of him. Okay, and it says, and these are the sons of Ruah, Nahath, and Zerah, Shema, Mizah. These were the sons of Bashemoth, Esau's wife. That's basically it on that. Let me see. Salakia, let me read verse 15. These were the dukes. These were dukes of the sons of Esau. All right, the sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn of Esau, Duke Teman. All right, Duke Omar, Duke Zepho, Duke Kenaz, Duke Korah, Duke Gatam, and Duke Amalek. All right. So there's multiple generations of these dukes, these chiefs. All right, you see? These are the dukes that came of Eliphaz and the land of Edom. These were the sons of Adah. All right. So you see the setup here that Esau had basically 5 sons. And I thought it was particularly interesting when you get to Amalek and Alexander, the Greek, which we'll get to, who had 5 generals, you know. And there's pictures of Petra where you see the 5 eagles, and multiple examples of the symbology of this demon. All right, who is the vessel of dishonor. I don't think there's any more on this, but there you go. That's the genealogy. Amalek is the grandson of Esau-Edom. Okay, and so when you start seeing rhetoric on television and news about how the rabbis are considering the Europeans the Edomites, which they say that they believe that they're on record saying that, multiple of them, the whole nation believes that, actually, that the Romans and the Europeans were the Edomites. All right, but really they are the Amalekites. So there's really no difference of them, but they're just the ruling house of it, which I'll get that in a second. Okay, so that's who Amalek is. All right, genetically speaking. Okay. All right, so we're gonna read Salakia. I'm gonna get this down. So it says, actually, before I get that, I'm gonna go into the matter, all right, of when Saul was commanded to deal with the Amalekites. Okay, we read that in Exodus and Deuteronomy that the Lord was gonna have, war with them forever, and they're to be blotted out. That's a commandment, all right. But we were never able to get them. Now, when the kingdom was set up, Saul was made the first king. All right. Now let's read. One of the first things Saul is tasked with doing is to go and take care of them, man. All right. This is Psalm, 1 Samuel 15:1. And Samuel also said unto Saul, the Lord Yahweh sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now, therefore, hearken thou unto the voice of the words of the Lord Yahweh, and thus saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel. So he don't give a fuck how long ago shit was, man. This is around 1000 BC. All right. And that was hundreds of years after Amalek did what he did during the times of Exodus. But did the Lord forget? No. He said, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt, which you read one variation of that story. All right. Verse 3. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. That means everything, man. The Lord wanted to give them the Canaanite package. All right. because that's what they were likening to, man. And I'm gonna get the map on the chart that I had shown up earlier. This, all right, which I thought was a very interesting map and a way to show all of the ways that uh, various people have tracked these people over the years. Okay, and you can see basically on this map how it all links. All right, but the Canaanites were a despicable race and nation of people that were in our land when we came out of Egypt, and you had the Amalekites basically trying to ambush us on the way there. All right. Anyway, going back, I'm going to skip down. All right. Yeah, Saul gathered together 200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah. Yeah, he's about to go. He's about to go to work, man. All right, and Saul said, verse 6, and Saul said unto the Kenites, go, depart, get you down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. Lest I destroy you with them, for ye showed kindness to all the children of Israel when ye came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. All right. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt. All right. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive. All right. So he just disobeyed the Most High. So now, instead of them where they're supposed to be blotted out right here and there, they were not, because of Saul's disobedience. And we'll see how that comes back to bite us later. All right. And it says, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep and of the oxen and of the fatling. So he was specifically told to do away with everything, man. But he did what he wanted to do. All right. And Saul didn't realize how grievous of a sin that he committed at the time. All right. He thinks that he was doing the Lord a favor by bringing in more animals to sacrifice. But, you know, Samuel rebukes him, man. All right. And it says, in the oxen, Salakia, and would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile and refuse that they destroyed utterly. All right. So he only destroyed the things that they thought were unclean or there's, you know, low quality, basically. And he took everything else. All right. Then came in the word of the Lord Yahweh unto Samuel, saying, it repented me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he has turned back from following me and hath not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto the Lord Yahweh all night. And Samuel rose early to meet Saul in the morning. It was told Samuel, saying, Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set him up a place, and is gone about and passed on and gone down to Gilgal. All right. And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said unto him, blessed be the Lord Yahweh. I have performed the commandment of the Lord, which he did not. All right. Verse 15, and Saul said, skipping down a little bit, Salakia, they have brought them from the Amalekites, for the people spared the best of the sheep of the oxen to sacrifice unto the Lord Yahweh thy power. And the rest we have utterly destroyed. Then Samuel said to Saul, stay, and I will tell thee what the Lord Yahweh said to me this night. And he said unto him, say on. And Samuel said, when thou was little in thine own sight, wast thou not made the head of the tribes of Israel? And the Lord Yahweh anointed thee king over Israel. And the Lord Yahweh sent thee on a journey and said, go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed. Wherefore then didst thou not obey the voice of the Lord Yahweh, but didst fly upon the spoil, and didst evil in the sight of the Lord Yahweh. So he did what he wanted to do, man. He did not utterly destroy them. Now, it doesn't say specifically that other Amalekites escaped besides King Agag. Right here, it just shows you that King Agag is who they had in custody, basically. All right. Now, if you skip down here, Okay, see, King Agag is still alive here. All right, then Samuel said, bring ye hither to me Agag, king of the Amalekites. And Agag came unto him delicately. And Agag said, surely the bitterness of death is past, because he's scared now. All right, and said, Samuel, as thy sword hath made women childless, so shall thy mother be childless among women. All right, now that's how Amalek and the Agagites, who we're going to speak about in a second here, basically their lineage continued on from Saul's disobedience. All right. Okay. And I think I had that here, but I don't think I need this precept. It's basically saying the same thing. All right. So King Agag is what? An Amalekite. That's who King Agag is. All right. And we already know who Amalek is. He goes back to Esau. Now let's keep going real quick. Okay. Let's go to the book of Esther. All right. The 3rd chapter, starting at verse 1. It says, after these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, man. Now, when you look up the story of Esther, this is where we get the High Holy Day. All right. Parawum. Pawarum. All right. Which they say Purim, Purim, and Yiddish or whatever. All right. That story, it takes place here in the book of Esther. All right. Now, for the guys that say that the Apocrypha is not inspired, well, you're going to have to explain why Esau cut out 7 chapters of Esther in the middle of a chapter, basically. All right. And you're going to see why they cut it out. The original King James 1611 Bible was translated with the 15 apocryphal books, man. All right. And we know this because it's one, you can just buy one of those Bibles still today with all the apocryphal books in it. All right. And then number 2, you can see the book of Esther in chapter 10. It's just cut off, man, on the 3rd verse. Anyway, the setup to this, all right, is we're around 480 BC. And we're in the captivity of the Persians. This is the Medo-Persian Empire. Okay. And Ahasuerus, all right, who is the king at that time, who we'll attribute to, which we'll get it here. All right. This is Ahasuerus. Is named applied in the Hebrew Bible to 3 rulers and to a Babylonian official in the book of Tobit. It is a transliteration of either Xerxes or Artaxerxes. All right. So that is basically another translated name of Xerxes, who was a real person. As a matter of fact, Xerxes the first, all right, is the ruler during the Battle of Thermopylae, man, which is what the movie 300 was based on, with King Leonidas and everybody else. All right. There you go. What was the history of King Xerxes' reign? Xerxes was real and was the king of Persia between 486 and 465 BC. All right. So he reigned 21 years. Okay. So when you start seeing the year of his reign in the scriptures, you can roughly pin it to around this time period. All right. Now, going back, now that we know who King Ahasuerus is, what time period that we're in. All right. Now, remember, the Medo-Persian captivity is after the Assyrian captivity in the time of Isaiah and Hosea. And it's after the Babylonian captivity during the time of what Esau called the major prophets. That's Daniel, that's Ezekiel, that's Jeremiah. All right. This is after that. All right. Where we were allowed to return back and rebuild our temple during the time of either Cyrus or Darius, I forget. the Persian ruler before Ahasuerus here, man. All right, because the book of Esther and the book of the Maccabees are right next to each other. The book of Esther is right before the events of the book of the Maccabees, because this is the end of the Medo-Persian Empire. This guy is basically one of the last rulers of the Medo-Persian Empire. All right, because this is the guy that lost the battle of Thermopylae. All right, so his kingdom and the power of his grip was waning. All right, and you start to see that he tries to get assassinated, and somebody tries to assassinate him. That's what happens towards the end of your rule, when your subjects see you as weak. All right, and that's what was going on with this guy. Okay, and who took down the Medo-Persians? The Greeks did. Okay, so this is the story from the Medo-Persian captivity into the Greek captivity. That's very, very important, because who are the Greeks? All right. Esau likes to say civilization started with the Greeks. When you read about this guy, this nigga was balling, man. What are you talking about? Civilization started with you. There were so many nations that did well. He's proud devil, man. Anyway, Esther 3 verse 1. After these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite. So here we see an Agagite pops up. Remember the timeline. This is 480 BC now. When did King Saul live? 1000 BC. All right. So this is roughly 600 to 700 years later. All right. You still see Agagites. All right. And not only is there an Agagite alive, but you're going to see this guy gets high level positions in the kingdom. So they were not just regular lowly people. They had already infiltrated various courts of different kingdoms, which we'll get to that. All right. And it says, that's important to know, Hammedatha the Agagite. All right. So he's a descendant of King Agag, which is an Amalekite, which are Edomites. All right. And it says, and all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence. All right. And you can read in the Apocrypha, because they take this part out, why Haman didn't bow. You're going to find out that in the second year of his reign, because this is the 7th year, I believe, or close to the 7th year. But in the second year of his reign, Mordecai gets a vision of the Most High, man. All right. As a matter of fact, let me just go to it real quick. Notice this says the additions to Esther. All right. They took it out. When you go here and go to chapter 9, it's not there, because we're under the apocrypha text. All right. But if you go to verse 10, you'll see it starts at verse 4. And then when you go to the modern day King James, you'll see that Esther goes through chapter 10, verse 3. It gets cut off there. All right. And it says, we go to the next chapter, actually. All right. So right after that, look, you see Ptolemy here, man. So this is right at the end of the Persian. This is a transitionary period. All right. You see Ptolemy and Cleopatra here. All right. And now you have a Levite who's a priest, a Levite in the court, giving them the breakdown, Ptolemy and Cleopatra, the breakdown of what happened in the matter of the Israelites when we were scattered throughout the Medo-Persian Empire. All right, that's what this chapter is. And it says, in the second year in the reign of Artaxerxes. Now, this is a Greek transliteration of Artaxerxes, which is the same as Ahasuerus. All right. And that's why you see his name is sometimes it's just Xerxes. All right. But in the second year of reign of Artaxerxes, in the first day of the month of Nisan, Mardochaeus, which is Mordecai, remember this Greek transliterated, all right, the son of Jairus, the son of Simi, the son of Kisai, which is Kish, the same lineage that King Saul came from, all right. So you see, it came back full circle. You see, the son of Kish that let King Agag go 700 years ago, his seed later down the line had to deal with this nonsense, man. Okay? And we'll prove that real quick, that he's, get it, maybe verse chapter 2. Where is it? Okay. Here it is, 2 and 5, Esther 2 and 5, whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimi, the son of Kish, a Benjamite. All right. So Kish, the son of Kish, a Benjamite, was also the lineage of Saul, man. So Saul's lineage had to deal with the remnant of the Agagites that Saul went off and let go, man. All right. But you're going to see that Mordecai redeems, you know, the mistakes of his forefather. All right, as well as all of Israel when you read this whole story, which we're not going to read, but you get the point, you see. And I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but bear with me. Going back to Esther, the 11th chapter, which you can only get in the Apocrypha, because Esau cut it out, remember that. All right, so that's who that is, all right. It says, in the second year that of his reign, he had a dream. Okay. Who was a Jew, or an Israelite, I should say, and dwelt in the city of Susha. This is Shusha, which means lily. It says, a great man being a servitor in the king's court. All right, so that's the context of when he had that dream. So when you go back, all right, and you read, actually, let's read a little bit what the dream says. All right, it says, behold, verse 5, Salakia, Esther, chapter 11, verse 5, behold, Salakia, let me go to verse 4. Let me slow myself down a little bit. It says, he was also one of the captives of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, carried it from Jerusalem with Jeconiah, king of Judah. All right, and this was his dream. In the second year he had this dream. All right, behold, a noise of a tumult, with thunder and earthquakes and uproar in the land. All right. And behold, two great dragons came forth ready to fight, and their cry was great. All right. So this is a vision and a dream that Mordecai had in the second year. And all their cry of all nations were prepared to battle, that they might fight against the righteous people. And lo, a day of darkness and obscurity, tribulation and anguish, affliction and great uproar upon the earth, and the whole righteous nation was troubled, fearing their own evils, and were ready to perish. Then they cried unto the Most High, and upon their cry it as it were from a little fountain was made a great flood, even much water. The light and the sun rose up, and the lowly were exalted, and devoured the glorious. Now when Mordecai, who had seen this dream, and what the Most High had determined to do, was awake, he bare this dream in mind, and until night, by all means, was desirous to know it. So he already had been told he already knew when this demon, Haman, had that wicked spirit on him, that he was going to get the victory. So he was like, I ain't bowing to this nigga, man. Let's read Esther chapter 3, verse 2. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, the Agagite, the Amalekite, which is the Edomite. All right. For the king had so commanded concerning him, but Mordecai bowed not, nor did reverence him. All right. So you can see that there's already aught with each other. And when you read this entire story, Haman has an entire group of people ready to descend on all of the Israelites spread across all 127 provinces that the Medo-Persian Empire ruled over, man. Which, as it said, was from India, which is the Indus Valley, all the way over to Ethiopia down to the Nile River. All right, that was their kingdom. Basically, the entire Levant region, and then some. All right, we were scattered all throughout there, but Haman had men ready to slaughter us in all of those provinces, man. And that's what those two dragons fighting were about. You know, similar to the two nations warring in the womb of Rebecca. All right. This is a ancient perpetual war that we've always had, and you can see how petty this demon is, man. Here it is, 600-700 years later. All right, he's still got an issue. All right, and then when he found out who Mordecai was, which was an Israelite, he was like, "Oh hell no!" It's like that the wrath doubled on him, man. You see. And it says, "In the king's servant, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, Why transgressest thou the king's commandment?" Because Mordecai took a risk disobeying the king. Why did he do that? Because he already knew through the Spirit. All right. Now it came to pass when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand, for he had told them that he was an Israelite. All right. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then Haman was full of wrath. And that's when that war of Amalek came roaring back, man. All right. And you can read the entire book of Esther. And I mean it's in its entirety, including the Apocrypha, to get the understanding on how that matter went down. But basically, he tried to get us all put to death under the Medo-Persian Empire. Okay? The Amalekites did this. Okay? Now, what is this? How is this related to the modern day so-called white people? We're going to find out. All right? So that's the context there. All right? Now, let's go over to chapter 16 of the additions to the book of Esther. And chapter 16, you can tell, is the reason why they took this out. 1000%. You see? But you notice they tried to cut it off at a high point where it looked like it was ending. You know? Because when you read the end of chapter of Esther, all right, Shalakia. When you read Esther, the 10th chapter, it looks like it's ending on a high note. And that's where he tried to be slick and cut this out, man. Mordecai's greatness, lay tribute on the land. You know, you can read this. But basically, it kind of feels like it's ending. So Esau, like, let me cut this off at verse 3. But they don't need to know any more than that. Because if he just cut it off right at chapter 16, you know, it would have looked a lot more suspicious. You see, but this guy is sloppy, man. And that's through the Spirit that we have this understanding. All right. But it says, let me see. Now, additions to Esther chapter 16, verse 1, the great king Artaxerxes unto the princes and governors of 107 provinces from India to Ethiopia, and unto all 4 faithful subjects greeting. Of all our faithful subjects greeting, Salakia. And many more often they are honored with the great bounty of their gracious princes. They are proud. They are more proud. They are waxen. All right, I'm going to skip down. All right. This is the main point of it that I wanted to bring up. Additions to Esther, chapter 16, verse 10, it says, for Ammon, which is Haman, all right, remember this is a Greek transliteration when you get to the Apocrypha, all right, for Ammon or Haman, a Macedonian. See, it doesn't say that anywhere in the first 10 chapters of Esther. So Esau was cool with it. You see? Makes no mention of him. All right. Only that he descends from King Agag. That's all you basically get to see. All right. But it doesn't tell you that the Agagites were the Macedonians. All right. Now, who were the Macedonians? We're going to find out. But you should know this already, you know, for brothers that read a little bit of history. All right. It says, for Ammon, a Macedonian, the son of Amadatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood. So that tells you right now that whole story, how he got the high positions in the land. He was not a Persian. He was not an Elamite. All right. He was not of the stock of the Achaemenid Empire. Okay. If you don't know what the Achaemenid Empire is, it was the ruling dynasty of the Medo-Persian Empire. All right, when they consolidated power, when they took down the Medes, that was the height of that empire, man, of that beast. Okay, which is the second beast in the book of Daniel. All right, and you see if it's going to say it here, it may not. Achaemenid, Salakia. Okay, so you see it started with Cyrus, 550 BC, down to where we are now in 480-ish, 460. All right, so that was that dynasty. Cyrus, and I believe you had Darius, and then down to this guy. All right. So when we read this, all right, additions to Esther, chapter 16, verse 10 again. For Ammon, a Macedonian, the son of Amadatha, being indeed stranger from the Persian blood, all right, meaning he was not a Persian, all right, and far distant from our goodness, and as a stranger received of us. So Amalek has been doing this for thousands of years, infiltrating governments. He got into the highest court of the land. This nigga was the second in rulership of the Achaemenid Empire, man, of the Medo-Persian Empire. He was what Daniel was, all right, the second highest in the land of the Babylonian Empire, to what our forefather Joseph was, which was the second in command of the Egyptian Empire, man. You see, he was that high up. But let's read a little bit more on this guy who was not a Persian. He was a Macedonian and also an Agagite, which is an Amalekite, which is an Edomite. All right. All right. Which is the seed of Satan, basically. All right. And it says, verse 11, had so far obtained the favor that we show toward every nation, that as that he was called our father and was continually honored of all the next person unto the king. So he was second in command, but he, not bearing his great dignity, went about to deprive us of our kingdom and life. He couldn't let it go, man, ever. And Esau's doing that right now. Amalek's doing that right now, man. He has a firm grip on Jake, man. When you look at the West India companies, East India companies, all right, the Dutch India companies that funded all of the transatlantic events. Look who's behind all of that. All right. He's never been able to let it go, man. He's responsible for our destruction. All right. And it says, Verse 13, having by manifold and cunning deceits sought of us the destruction. All right. And that's how we know that this is the devil, man, because he's the cunning one, man. That's how Amalek gets down. He's always the victim. Even though he's got all of this power, all right, trying to spoil us, changing his names, moving around, popping up in positions of power in various countries. You see, there's a very strong correlation to this guy, man. It says, having by manifold cunning deceits sought of us the destruction, as well as Mordecai, who saved our life and continually procured our good, as also of blameless Esther, partaker of our kingdom, with their whole nation. For by these means he thought, finding us destitute of friends, have translated the kingdom to of the Persians to the Macedonians. In other words, he was going to overthrow the government of the Persians, man. That's why he was there. He didn't mean the king of Xerxes any good, man. Now it comes out in the apocryphal text. You see that the Edomites tried to overthrow the Persians. All right. Who are the Macedonians, who are the Greeks, who are the so-called white people today. You see how it's tying together? All right. These people are the Macedonians. And isn't that what Esau does today? Can't you read the stat about a certain group of people that got kicked out of every land because of wickedness that they're doing? All right. Setting up cabinets. What did Klaus Schwab say, which is an Amalekite? He said he got people in prime and minister in parliamentary positions and prime ministers and different cabinets all over the globe, man. All right, and it says, but we find that the Israelites, whom this wicked wretch had delivered to utter destruction, and no evildoers, but live by most just laws. So he tried to slander us, man, and tried to get us basically exterminated. All right. So that's who this person is, man. Now let's go and prove. Okay. Now that we know that the Agagites are Macedonians, let's fast forward, because we know, as we can read in verse 10, that this time period is the end of the Persian Empire, and the Greeks were basically coming up. You see, and that's why you had that nigga in that far high up in the Persian court, because the Greeks were looking to overthrow these people, man. They knew. Let's see what this guy Xerxes was famous for, man. What was he famous for? He fought the Battle of Thermopylae. He lost against the you know the story of the 300. You know. Okay. Let me see. Did I not? Let me see. Go back to Xerxes the First. What was he known for? He is best known for his massive invasion of Greece from across the Hellespont. So he was a threat to Greece. Okay. And so you had infiltrators in there, just like you have them today. All right. Now this is the book of Maccabees, which this is at the strength of the Greek kingdom, man, which is the third beast in Daniel. All right. First Maccabees chapter 1, and it happened after Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian, came out of Kedem, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, because Darius is the son of Artaxerxes or Xerxes. Okay, Xerxes was assassinated. All right, and then he had another brother or son that was killed as well, I believe. And then Darius took over. All right. And we had such good favor among among the Medo-Persian Empire after the events of Mordecai and Esther, we were feared and we were greatly respected all over the kingdom. And so when the Greeks came in, man, we were straight. They didn't even mess with us. All right. They let us come back and get, and keep our customs, And it says, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. All right. So this is that third beast popping up. All right. And Alexander is the he-goat also in the book of Daniel. Okay. And Darius is the goat with two horns. Shalakia. It says, verse 2, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. All right. You go down. Verse 7, so Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. All right. And let's look up how many. Okay, Shalakia, I was mistaken. He had 4 main generals. So his kingdom was split into basically four regions. All right. So Esau basically popped up again. All right. Rule with Amalek ruling. Now that we know the Macedonians were the Amalekites. All right, we can see that they're now in rulership now. You see? And they took over the rest of the Greek peninsula, because Greece was a bunch of city-states that were independent. That's what Sparta was. Sparta was its own city-state. They gathered their army to went down there and fought in the Battle of Thermopylae on their own. But Philip, all right, who was Alexander's father, he had something called leagues. And he united all of these city-states under one banner. All right. And that's why it says the first over Greece, because all of those different city-states, Athens and all of that, they were all unified under Philip. All right. But Philip had not yet had a chance to get his hands on the Persians yet. That was his son Alexander did that. All right. And so when you read the scriptures and you read all throughout the history, you get an idea of how all of these empires came up and they went down, man. All right. But the Macedonians were the chief rulers, which they're on when you look at the map. All right. And I know this is long. You look at the map here. All right. This is Macedon. All right. So they came from the north. Okay. That was the ruling house. All of these city-states, they were independent on their own. But the king of Macedon gathered his army. The Persian Empire was coming off from these fronts, sending their navies over. All right. He convinced the rest of these city-states to unify, and that's when you had the Greek Empire. All right. But there's various different dialects of Greek, and they all worship the same gods. And they can understand each other, relatively speaking. They just spoke different dialects and whatnot, but they were separate governments, essentially. All right. The idea of the metropolis or the city-state came from Greece. Athens, Sparta. That's where municipal governments come from, where you have a city government and there's a state government and then there's a federal government. That all is a similar legal apparatus going back to the Greeks. All right. You see? So, but Macedon was the chief of them all that led the rest of these, which most of these cities were. They had Edomites and Jakes in there. All right, these were all melting pots. That's what a metropolis is. It's basically a big melting pot. That's what New York City is, man. All right, it's just there's a pocket. There's little China. There's little Italy. There's that's what these were. All right, but the ruling house, the ruling class, and the armies came out of Macedon, man. Now, what does the scripture say? This is Numbers 24 and 20. And when he looked upon Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever, man. So this guy was set up. That's why he's over your average Edomite. That's why every Amalekite you see walking around with the small hat on, all right, is paid. They're juiced in. They're not just paid, they're juiced in. They can say and do whatever the fuck they want. They can wipe $2 billion away from Kanye. See? Just for saying something about him. Just for not agreeing with him. Like, damn. All right? You can see how we're able to piece these things together. All right? Of who these people are, man. So if you ask the average person today, what ethnicity were the Greeks? They're all going to tell you white people. Okay? Europeans. And that's true, but the Macedonians were primarily the beginning of it. All right? If I could go back to the map and show you, Macedon was essentially a colony of Esau. All right? And so was Rome over here. Rome was a colony of Esau. Okay? It started off with the city of Rome. And when you look at Rome and how they fought, they were doing this at the same time. They were colonizing Macedon. They were also over here in Rome, man. The Roman Empire was coming up. But it was written that the Greeks would rule first. All right? The house of Amalek would rule first. All right? And then you had Edomites over here in Rome, man, over to the west. All right, this is the Adriatic Sea, and between the Adriatic Sea and between Greece and the Adriatic Sea is the Italian Peninsula. All right, and then to the left of the Italian Peninsula, actually, I'll just pull it up. You have the Tyrrhenian Sea, I believe. All right. Okay. See? You have the Tyrrhenian Sea and the Adriatic Sea. All right. So this was a colony of Esau. All right. And then Macedon was another colony of Esau, which is Salakia. It'd be around this area. All right. North Macedonia. You see? And it's the same MO. He came in colonizing, setting up lands, and he made war with everybody around him at the same time. You look up when Rome was founded and when the ancient Greeks were founded. All right, it was around the same time, around 700 something BC. You start seeing the Edomite colonies start to flourish, and all the way down when you get to 300, 200, 100 BC, they've taken over. All right, they took out all the Etruscans, they took out all the Minoans, which were the original Grecian people. All right, just like they did over here in America. All right, they had Jamestown was a colony. All right, of the English. All right, we have Santa Fe was a colony of the Spanish. All right, and then you have Quebec. Forget where the city of Quebec is. It's somewhere in here. Was the Quebec City? All right, was the founding city of the French. All right. See? And then what happened after all three? You can read that in Daniel the 7th chapter about the three horns. All right, that fell, and the little horn that came up. All right, that's Esau. Okay. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here, but you get the point. All right, now, real quick before I close out, I want to show a little bit. I was watching the Elder Malcolm. I do a little bit of history on it, and I was always very interested in this story. All right, you can see this map here. I went and found the video myself. All right, you can pause that and look at it. Okay, but you can see this title down here, which I don't even want to say it because it's such a hot topic, especially with what's going on right now. They're really afraid of this, name or moniker of people of name they used to go by. All right. It's a major conspiracy theory that they'll say. But the last thing I'll leave with you is the president of Palestine, man. All right. What did he say? All right. It says Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Shtayyeh, there is no connection between Israelis and Israelites. I'll just say that. And modern Israelis are Khazar. All right. And there's writings of this by Oliver Cromwell, who overthrew the King James, the Jacobite throne of King James. All right. Look up what the Jacobite lineage is. Why was it called the Jacobite? People don't know that the name James is another way of saying Jacob. All right. It's the anglicized version of the word Jacob. All right. And what you find out is they basically got systematically wiped out. They were the first one to rule over France, England, and Scotland, man. All right. With the Jacobites. Okay. And I'm sure you're going to see, or maybe not. There you go. James II, 7th. James Francis Stewart. All right. And he had a son, Charles II. All right. And he did not leave out the apocryphal text. All right. That was taken out later after the Jacobites were thrown out. All right. Out of power. And so the modern lineage today was supplanted by another lineage. So, which were these people that you see over there with the crown jewels on, Anyway, going back to this article real quick. It says Oliver Cromwell, Napoleon, which that movie, I'm going to watch it, Lord's will, and Balfour wanted a function state in the region that will serve their interests. That's what went down. So this is what this guy said. He says the other key to the research of the Israelis of today, who are they? Without going into detail, they are the Khazar, who converted, all right, in the 6th century CE. This issue requires research. There are many sources and books about the Khazar. Now I would like to say something important. Today, Israel as a Zionist enterprise constitutes a function rather than a state. Focus on this sentence. It constitutes a function rather than a state. Meaning it's a takeover. They have no connection to it. This is what was said and desired by Oliver Cromwell in 1652. All right. Which King James wrote, had the Bible translated famously in 1611. All right. He had his son Charles. Then that's basically when, this guy came in to set up the Edomites, basically, over the United Kingdom, what's known as the United Kingdom today. All right, and it says by Napoleon Bonaparte in 1799, by American consul in Jerusalem, and by Balfour. What did Herzl? All right, when you look up, I forget his name, Alex Herschel or something. Maybe start with an A, his first name. Write to Balfour. He said, "Do you want us to be the protection of Britain's interests in the Middle East and in the East and in the Suez Canal, we are prepared to be a function state. All right. And wait, hold on. That's not the point that I wanted. Yeah, this is it. Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed said that there is no connection between Israelis and Israelites, descendants of Jacob. Rather, they are the, who converted in the 6th century. He made these remarks in a public address that was aired on Palestine television in 2021. So they know, man. So the war that's going on over there, it runs way deeper than what most people think it is, man. They know the true identity of a lot of these people. Go over there to Iran. They will straight up tell you that we're the Persians, man. All right. They know. They have cities that are 4,000 years old over there, man. 3,000 years old over there. All right. So when you try to go over there and fuck with Iran, man, y'all don't realize how long those people have been living there. That says something about a people that's been in their land that long. They will die there. All right. They will die to the last man there. Okay. If it comes to it. All right. So there you go, And I could go and do, more on this. Really I could do a part 2. But, with Esau lurking around and algorithms, you got to be extremely careful. All right. But you can look up this video of this guy, Chuck Swindle, I guess. All right. I haven't watched this whole thing, but I will, Lord's will. And Lord willing, this was edifying. Shalom.